You can use ChatGPT to help you learn languages. It's actually kind of freaky. A very important note, for the vast majority of people, you will not be able to use only ChatGPT to reach your language learning goals. Hi, I'm John, a video producer with Babbel. With the recent improvements to large language models and their accessibility to anyone with an internet connection, a lot of people are asking if ChatGPT can help you learn a second or third or fourth language. Estudio español desde hace 7 años y me pregunté, ¿es posible usar ChatGPT para mejorar mi español? Specifically, can I ask it to converse with me in an effort to improve a specific skill like the subjunctive mood? Have it correct my word choice and grammar to sound more natural? The answers to those questions honestly surprised me and made me rethink how I learn languages, what practicing a language means, and what's preventing me personally from going from intermediate Spanish to advanced. There's a lot to discuss, so let's get into it. I'll be honest, I'm pretty skeptical of a lot of the claims people make about these large language models like ChatGPT. There's a lot of hype and some tricky ethical questions we'll probably be discussing for years. When it comes to learning a language, there's also the very important issue of so-called hallucinations. Basically, these models are great at generating plausible sounding text, but are susceptible to passing off phony information as fact. There's not really an intelligence, the way we usually think of it, behind them. Okay, so I started the conversation by typing, I am practicing intermediate Spanish. Have a conversation with me in Latin American Spanish that uses a bit of slang, but otherwise sticks to intermediate Spanish. I am studying the subjunctive tense. We're gonna have to pretend that I didn't call the subjunctive a tense. It's technically a mood. But the general idea is strong, I think. If you're gonna use these large language models, you wanna direct them as specifically as possible. Here, I've clued into my level, the regional variation I'd like to focus on, what I wanna practice, and how I want to practice it, through conversation. It responds pretty perfectly, naturally incorporating the subjunctive, que estés practicando, and even providing an accurate translation in English. Now, my first big error is ChatGPT's first big problem. I wrote, deseo que ponga ir a la playa, which I guess translates to something like, I wish I were to put to go to the beach. Listen, the subjunctive is hard, guys. ChatGPT identified mistake and even knew what I meant to say. It gives me a correct alternative, although it's not in the subjunctive. But here's the first issue with using ChatGPT as a language learning tool. When you're learning a language, you don't know what you don't know. Here, the AI client has switched to the past tense subjunctive and given me a perfectly accurate sentence to say. But it doesn't know what I had in mind, and I didn't know enough to get to the bottom of what it was telling me. It was only when I talked to a real person, Esteban, my coworker, who happens to be an incredible Spanish teacher on Babbel Live, that I could figure out what I originally misunderstood. In this case, either the past or present subjunctive could be accurate. But to figure out which one I should use, it helps to have someone who can respond to you, who can figure out what you are and aren't understanding and get to the bottom of your intention. Now, I don't need to share the entire conversation I had, but I will say one more thing. At one point, while correcting me, ChatGPT reminded me that the subjunctive is difficult, but assured me I was doing well. I almost responded, thank you, even though I was thanking a large language model. It really does start to feel like a person. For the right student, I can definitely see a chatbot being a part of your learning process. But of course, very few people study a language just so they can send emails back and forth. If you want to improve your speaking and listening skills, this tool leaves a lot to be desired. You miss out on the rhythm of a conversation, the ability a teacher or friend might have to get to the bottom of one of your errors and to help explain a concept in a way you personally can understand. It's also just not as fun as talking to a person, which could lead to problems with motivation or even retention. Let me give you an example. I learned the Peruvian slang, pituco, from my wife's cousin, Catarin. It means something like fancy, with a connotation of being stuck up or snobby. When I use the word now, I can see Catarin's face sort of sticking her nose up in the air, and it helps me remember the word. That kind of memorable, spontaneous learning in context is hard, if not impossible, for ChatGPT to replicate. So no, Esteban and other great teachers like him are not going to be automated out of a job anytime soon. There's definitely still a place for language apps like Babbel that can direct your language learning journey and provide you with unimpeachable examples of real-world conversations. But the fact that this emerging technology can play any role in helping you learn a language is, frankly, pretty amazing.